Hello, I'm Jacob Swafford and I'm here with Asad.Malik, our subject matter expert on reliability programs and specifically vibration analysis and machinery monitoring. So today we're going to address a question that comes in from many of our customers around what's the difference between a machinery protection system and then the predictive side of machinery diagnostics, and what constitutes or what drives the decision to monitor each asset with either a protective technology or predictive. So Asad, over to you.
Thank you, Jacob. So let's start with the type of assets to be monitored by protection or prediction system. So plant assets falls into three categories: the critical assets, the essential assets, and the balance of plant assets. So I will start with the critical assets. They are usually 10% or less of the total assets. Now there are several ways to define a critical asset, but in simple words, how much time it takes to fail. Is it a millisecond? Is it violent and dangerous? If the answer is yes, it is a critical asset. They are usually massive and expensive. For example, 100 megawatt of steam turbine, gas turbine, boiler feed water pump, compressor, and generator. These are few of the examples of critical assets. There are several ways to monitor and there are different standards. Let's talk about a little bit history of monitoring the critical assets. In the mid-70s or before mid-70s, most of these machines were monitored by very nominal type of measurements, and those were not much capable. But in the mid-70s, many users have seen eddy current probe installation on the critical assets. But still there was a wide variety and variations, and there were different systems. So a need for standard was there at that time. So the first standard on machinery protection system was published in June 1976, which covered the radial vibration and the axial position. Now, as of today, most of the producer and original equipment manufacturers have standardized on API 670 standard to shut down the critical assets and to avoid the expensive shutdown from those machines.
Okay, so Asad, that makes sense from a standard there around machinery protection. How does that come into play with safety compliance? I bet some of our users and our customers are wondering about that.
Right. Safety regulations and insurance requirements also dictate the producer to put in place the shutdown monitoring system to avoid these catastrophic failures and breakdowns.
Okay.
So it's well placed in the market. So now I'll talk about the essential assets. Essential assets are also important assets, but as compared to the critical assets, the time to failure is like hours, days, and months. So the best way to monitor essential assets is the predictive monitoring technology, and they can also disturb the process and shut down the machines, but it's always recommended to have a predictive information on those machines so that you can avoid a costly shutdown.
Sure.
The balance of plant, all the assets which are not in the critical list or the essential are the balance of plant assets. Now the balance of plant asset can also disturb the process and trip the machines, but the impact is very less as compared to the critical and the essential assets. So I highly recommend to use portable vibration analysis. Depending upon the type of your balance of plant, you can use weekly or monthly schedule, or you can use wireless monitoring as well on some of those assets where you feel that you can use difficult to access type of machines you can use over there. And as I said, comparatively the impact is less and safety risk is none to minimal.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense, Asad. So just to summarize there, we've got our most critical assets that are normally covered with machinery protection systems. So they will actually shut down the machine in a safe manner to prevent any catastrophic failure there.
That's right.
Our essential assets are typically monitored with prediction. Could be online prediction, it could be a wireless system. but they're really more of a predictive monitoring, or predictive monitoring is really used for these.
Right.
And our balance of plant assets are in general covered with either portable vibration analyzers, or they may fall into a wireless vibration monitoring as well. Is that right, Asad?
That's right. The only problem is the traditional protection system have some specific limitations. They automatically trip or shut down the machines to avoid a safety issue because they lack predictive data. Now, predictive data is very important to know the problem in advance, and then you can correct it, and based on that you can avoid a costly shutdown. So I highly recommend to use predictive monitoring on your critical assets, because predictive monitoring will give you a high visibility data, and your analysts and operators can use that data to run their machines more effectively and safely. Moreover, predictive monitoring will provide you information 24/7, so you are always aware. And it's always better to know the information well ahead of time, rather than wait for the trip and then look for the root cause. So in the end, I would say the right protection system can be a path to integrated predictive intelligence to avoid missed or false trips, and determining when a critical asset can run continuously and safely.
Great. Well, it makes a ton of sense, Asad. Why just shut down a machine based on a scalar value, an overall value there, when we could be getting some of this really rich diagnostic data from a predictive system there on our most critical assets as well.
That's right. That's right.
So great. Asad, I want to thank you for coming in today and talking to us about protection and prediction systems and the way that we'll address the assets throughout our plant here. I want to thank you for joining our latest Meet the Experts video, and look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.